This is the Mbsc Thrive program story. The first thing to keep in mind is that at times we're more proud of what we aren't than what we are. And what we aren't is the flavor of the week, very flashy workout where most people don't see a lot of success, typically because they usually get hurt in the process. But what we are is rooted 30 years in the making, coming from Mike Boyle Strength and Conditioning, about 20 miles outside of Boston. Mike is somebody who is every single reputable fitness professional has been influenced to some degree by Mike. And Mike has an exceptional reputation both in the sports performance sector as well as the adult population. I think a lot of that is because the first three rules of our program, kind of the way that an exercise or a philosophy makes it into the program, is it has to clear these three things. The first being we cannot get hurt in the gym. So choosing exercises and doing things where people don't get hurt in the process is really important, and a lot of programs fall short of that. The next thing is that the exercise or philosophy has to help people not get hurt in their sport. So for an athlete, it's very easy to identify what their sport is. But for the adult, sometimes their sport is the workout itself. Sometimes it's looking better. Sometimes it's feeling better. Sometimes it's moving better with less aches and pains, or sometimes they have, weekend athletics that they do, or keeping up with the kids and the family, or whatever. You can insert a lot of things for that word sport. And the last thing is that the exercise or philosophy has to help them improve performance in that sport. So those are the three layers at which we look at things. And a lot of programs either start at number three because that's the most fun and exciting one, which is to improve performance. But they neglect number one and two, which comes down to the ability to reduce the risk of injury. And that doesn't really work out for the long term. Getting into the program a bit, the first thing that everybody goes through is a proper movement screen. We have to just really look and identify, what are the things that these people maybe can't do? And then looking at the process and say, how do we get them to the point where they can do that and do it proficiently, which is where the program comes into play. First thing is prime. And within prime, there's a lot of things that go on, but to blanket the whole entire component, it's the vegetables. This is really where a lot of people, when they just go to the gym or they're part of a program that maybe isn't the most responsible, they just kind of skip through this part, kind of like eating broccoli as opposed to the steak. We all kind of, don't really go all in on that one. But the first thing we do is we roll. Mike says that our soft tissue or our muscles in general, when we're really young, is like filet mignon, but as we age, turns into a little more beef jerky. And foam rolling helps us kind of halt or slow down that process. And the more muscle tissue or just tissue in general that we have that's a little bit more like filet mignon, the less risk of it tearing or getting injured, and overall it performs a lot better. So that's why we roll, do some static stretching for basic flexibility. We want to make sure that our diaphragm is working properly. It helps out our posture. And mobility, we focus on the ankles, hips, and shoulders. When those three joints are at maximum mobility, it just makes us get a lot stronger without a risk of getting hurt. And all of that is in an effort to get the body warmed up and ready for the workout. Going into power, essentially, Mike says that we lose power at twice the rate that we lose strength after the age of 30. So in short, that just means we're getting slower every single day. And you ask anybody, hey, would you rather be faster or slower? I think it's a pretty rhetorical question. So we make sure that for about 6 to 8 minutes of that workout, we devote it to getting the upper body as fast as possible, as well as the lower body. Going into strength, we train every single human dominant pattern. So upper body is push-pull, lower body is hinging and squatting, and then we connect everything with the core. And sometimes it's laced with corrective exercises, going back to the whole idea on making sure that people do this thing as responsibly as possible. So a lot of times there's programs who don't have full symmetry in how they train strength. Like I say, we train every single human dominant pattern and get it incredibly strong, which brings us to an interesting point, which is that I think the industry got really thrown for a loop when the muscle confusion type stuff started coming out and people thought they had to change their workout up every 2 to 3 seconds. What happens when you change your workout all the time is that you don't get good at anything. And when you get really good at strength movements, you get a lot stronger, which makes your body look a lot different, on top of a lot of other good things that happen when you get stronger. So we don't change the workout just for the sake of changing it. It does adapt and evolve and progress, but not nearly as fast in terms of changing as some of the other workouts out there that seem to change it every single day. And we're very proud of that for that reason. Lastly is burn, which is just the conditioning. This is about 5 minutes left of the workout, and people give it everything they have left in the tank. And this targets the heart and lungs, and we want to make those things overall as healthy as possible. All in an effort, when you get all of those things right, we're trying to bulletproof the body from a lot of ways where other programs fall short. And all of those things are great and they're really important, but the one thing that we're really proud of what the Thrive program does for people is that it creates a community and a culture. And the program itself doesn't do much if you don't have a true coach, somebody who's able to get you excited about doing those things. A true coach building all those things together, then what you get is what fitness is supposed to be in 2017, 2018 and on. So that's the quick story of the Mbsc Thrive program.